Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is nutrition. It's my favorite mission. It's been my longest mission. I'm going to talk about Jamie Oliver. A lot of people say to me, Marcus, you're so much like Jamie Oliver. You know, Jamie Oliver, the naked chef from England. And so much like Jamie Oliver and this and that. That's great, that's great. I've never considered myself to be like, other people, and but there are a lot of similarities between Jamie Oliver and I. And I'm doing this video because I want to bring awareness to the fact of what Jamie Oliver is doing and what I'm trying to do and what's being done and what's being done about nutrition and our schools and our kids. And it's pathetic. It's really just pathetic. So by putting this video up, and keywording and tagging Jamie Oliver in it, and hopefully somebody will watch this. And if this video can change one person's look and actions on food to their kids, it's going to be, that's the name of the game here. One person would be wonderful. It doesn't cost me anything to do these videos. A couple minutes of my time and I put them up, and this video might get 100 hits, might get 5,000, or might get 20,000. I really don't know, But if one person can, change the way their kid eats because they're watching this video, that's really where it's at. So first of all, the differences between Jamie and Oliver and I, because he's the naked chef, and he's the one who's doing food revolution in our school system here in America, and he started in West Virginia, and to our unhealthiest state. And I lived in West Virginia, by the way, for 3 years. Love the state, love the mountains, a lot of outdoor activities, a lot of hiking, a lot of mountain biking I did. So I don't understand why they're so unhealthy. I guess it's just the food they eat and maybe their sedentary lifestyle. For me, it was like a playground. It was like, wow. I was in my early 20s and into all those outdoor activities back then. So I was like, cool. So Jamie Oliver, endorses, not really endorsed, but he advocates milk, or he says that, that milk is, milk's a good thing, milk, to have milk, and he talks about the differences between chocolate milk, and chocolate milk's just an atrocity. But I don't believe that dairy should be part of any kid's diet, unless it's raw, unpasteurized dairy. That's the only dairy I think kids should be eating. After that, the next best choice I would probably say would be goat's milk, goat's cheese. And then, really the last on the totem pole would be, run-of-the-mill dairy, run-of-the-mill cheese and milk that you'd go to the store and buy, like mozzarella that comes on pizza and cheddar and all that kind of stuff. To me, it's just, it's not a good food at all. The calcium benefits, the protein, it's all hype. It's all hype that the milk industry, the Dairy Council, promotes to us. And it's just, it's not justified. So I started my health quest 13 years ago when my daughter was born. I figured out that now I was now responsible for somebody else. Oh, I'm a parent. I'm responsible for somebody else. I screwed myself up pretty bad. I was overweight. I was about 30 more pounds than I am today. Tons of issues going on, which is why I was taking a lot of medication. I just abused myself. I never abused myself with recreational drugs. I abused myself with pharmaceutical drugs that my doctor was giving to me, and my diet and my sedentary lifestyle, because as I began getting more involved jobs, going from a line cook that, I had a more flexible schedule, to becoming an executive chef where I was at a place for 70, 80 hours a week, to being a partner in a restaurant where it was just non-stop work, I became sedentary, and I, of course, kept eating and abusing myself with my doctor's prescriptions. So now that my wife is pregnant, I said, wow, time to change. I saw the writing on the wall. For me, my father has heart issues. His father had heart issues. Of course, he's passed away. I never got to meet my grandfather, my father's father, because he had passed away from a heart attack before I was born, about 4 or 5 years before I was born. So I was like, wow, that's not really, what I want my kids to be exposed to. And I have control of that. And I knew that I have control. People say, oh, there's a magic bullet, take this, try Sensa, try whatever. Try these senseless things, basically, to lose weight. And they're all gimmicks. How you lose weight and how you become healthy is what you put in your mouth and exercise. It's a lifestyle change is how you become healthy. It's not a gimmicky pill that you take this and take green tea for metabolism. Sure, take green tea for metabolism. You have to do everything else right. Sure, take curcumin, take the antioxidants, take the vitamin C. Take whatever you're going to take, but you have to do everything else with it. So Jamie Oliver says milk. I say no milk. I have 2 kids, 11 and 10 and 13. My son, my daughter, never had milk. My daughter refused milk when she was a year old. My son, we never even gave it as an option, so we never forced milk on her. We looked at alternative calcium foods and alternative proteins for my daughter at a young, when she was a year old. And you know, the doctor we went to at the time, actually, the assistant to the doctor, she was like, "Don't worry about this. It's no big deal. She doesn't like milk. In fact, our bodies really aren't designed to consume milk and this and that." And I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my gosh." So I did some more research, and I was like, "Wow, she's right. You know, milk's not healthy for us." So no milk for my daughter, no milk for my son. You know, my kids are extremely athletic. My daughter's a little lazy, but when she wants to go run, she'll go run, and she'll run fast, and she'll do distance, she'll do sprints. She rides horses all the time. She'll hike, she'll mountain bike with us, and she'll take that bike and go right up the mountain here. So my daughter is fit and athletic. It's just a matter of, you know, on her time. My son, on the other hand, could run around all day and keep running and running and running and running and doing whatever sport. And he's very athletic in every sport, and he excels in every sport. Not only does he excel, but he usually finishes the top of his league or the top of his class or wherever he's at. In gym, they ran a timed mile, and he's at 10. He ran the timed mile, and he did it in 6 minutes 15 seconds, a timed mile. I said, "Justin, you know, I'm not in school, I'm not with the other kids." So I'm like, "How fast?" I know he's faster than the other kids. I was like, "How close were the other kids behind you?" And he goes, "If you consider 9 minutes, close." So here's my son at 10 running a 6:15 mile. And the closest competitor to him in his class is running a 9-minute mile. And he's like this in every sport, so that's why he gets moved up. People say, how's your kid so athletic? You weren't that athletic. I'm like, no, because I learned on my screw-ups. And you know, you raise kids and you give them the right food, and I see, no, there's very, very, very few parents out there that take the time to really look at what their kids eat and make informed decisions, and a lot of parents are just flat out lazy. I have conversations with parents a lot about food and with kids, and they know the difference. A lot of these parents, they know that pizza's bad and that pizza's not the best thing. They know this and they know that, and they see their kids chunking up, but yet their actions are different than what they're talking. Now, are they being lazy, or are they just talking just to talk to me? No, these are intelligent people that I have conversations with, very intelligent people, some of them, and some of them too intelligent, so you know, they don't want to believe it, and others, so yeah, I know this, I know that. And then there are kids, I'm like, well, if you know that, why would you let your kids do that? Take control of your kid's diet. Now, me personally, you know, my kids know how to cook. And Jamie Oliver, this is the big thing with Jamie Oliver too, teach kids recipes. For them to leave school, they need to know 10 recipes. You know, yes, my kids are very versed in the kitchen. I mean, at a young age, they just know, you want something, you cut up an apple, you go cut up an orange, you know, you cook some rice. My kids all know that. They know how to cook, you know, better than a lot of adults. And the way they handle knives, I mean, they'll go into the kitchen and just start grabbing, you know, some of my good Japanese knives. I mean, this knife here I could probably shave with, it's so sharp. But they'll pick up knives like this and just start cutting away with them. And they've never gotten cut, they've never slipped. I'm always very careful with them, but they'll just go and start grabbing stuff and cutting. And I walk in the kitchen, I'm like, wow, cool. It's like, what do you want for dinner? What do you want for a snack? What do you want for lunch? Oh, I got it already, Dad, I made it. I'm like, awesome. So they only are using the ingredients that I have in my kitchen. So they're approved ingredients by us. I don't have stuff in my house or in my restaurant that I wouldn't want them, that I wouldn't approve of. So that's the first step, is just, you know, cleaning your crap out of your house, and just don't do it. And I see a lot of kids, because my kids don't go to McDonald's. My son was like 7 years old when he first found out there was a playground in McDonald's. He goes, "Dad, do you know there's a playground in McDonald's?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know that." He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Well, because they have birthday parties there, son, and this and that." I think that's how he found out, from a birthday party or something. And so I never brought them in there. It was never an option for me to go into. They know now the only thing we use McDonald's for is for the bathroom when we're on the road. That's the only thing McDonald's is used for us. And it's just the way you bring your kids up. And so Jamie Oliver is doing a phenomenal job with what he's doing. I really want to support him and promote him, and you know, his foundation does a great job. And the name of the game is getting real food into the hands of kids and teaching them how to make their own real food, and showing cafeterias. You know, cafeterias and hospitals, they're still using massive amounts of corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, the stuff that has been proven to be bad. They're still using stuff that's deep fried which is a known carcinogen. The oil's rancid. They're using products like GMO'd oils, okay? Soybean oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, all GMOs. These are all toxic ingredients, but it's all coming from like cheap government subsidized food and crap. And the chemicals they use, the stabilizers they use, it's just disgusting and pathetic. You know, so there's a couple issues here. Teach your kids how to cook, and then monitor what they eat. You know, yeah, of course, you know, fat's important to monitor, stuff that's fried, stuff like that. All the caloric intake is important as well. But here's the best tip on caloric intake, okay? If you're eating the right foods, don't count calories. Again, if you're eating the right foods, you don't have to count calories, because the healthiest foods are the lowest in calories, and you could literally eat a bucket of them. And you won't have massive caloric intake. You can literally eat a bucket of this stuff. My kids love cucumbers. They can eat 2-3 cucumbers. Well, guess what? 2-3 cucumbers versus a couple Snickers bars. There's, you know, 1,000 calorie difference, you know. As an adult, I should be consuming 2,000 calories. That'd be half of my caloric daily intake. So if you're eating the right foods, don't count calories. You know, French fries. I mean, you go to Five Guys, those French fries have over 1,000 calories in them. Then you add the burger and the bun. I mean, you're talking about a nightmare. And this is what I see parents doing with their kids. I see parents taking their kids into these situations, and you know, we get fast food. We go to a grocery store and we pick up a 6-pack of bananas and some apples or oranges or whatever. That to us is fast food. Or we'll go and get some hummus. You know, we'll look for the most natural brand of hummus. My kids will chow on that. My son takes hummus to school. The other kids are like, what is that? You know, and it's like, he looks weird because he has real food and they have a Snickers. You know, and that's the reality of what we're doing to our kids. I consider this child abuse, and so does Jamie Oliver. It's downright child abuse. We are killing our kids. We're killing America. We're killing our kids. And it's not, and some of us know what we're doing. Everything you put in your body, if it's bad, it's bad. It's not moderation. You know, when a chemical's toxic and you consume it, it's not toxic in less of a dose. It just has a slower effect on you. So it's not like moderation, oh, it's okay. No. You put a small amount of mercury into a small amount of mercury into a small amount of mercury by the time when you're eating all this tuna or fluoride in your water, it's still toxic. It doesn't matter how small or how big of a portion it is. It's still toxic. Milk, my biggest problem with milk, it's one of the dirtiest foods out there. It's loaded with a ton of contaminants because cows eat grass, cows eat grains, cows eat other animal parts. This is a whole other video I'm going to do on rendering and how the rendering plants work, and where, because every piece that comes out of a slaughter processing plant, there's a lot of grotesque parts. I mean, the innards, with all the digestive stuff in, all the food still in it, the brains, everything, the ear pieces, everything, the mouth, the things you couldn't charge real money for to sell, to eat, all that extra stuff to scrap, the freaking manure that's in the digestive tract, all goes into another whole industry called rendering, and it's all melted down and cooked. Again, with all crap and junk from grocery stores. When a T-bone steak goes bad in a grocery store and it's wrapped in that plastic tray, the styrofoam plastic, that whole tray gets shipped right to the rendering plant. They don't unwrap, they put the whole thing in. When cats and dogs get euthanized in shelters, they don't take off the flea collars, they don't take the fluid out, the euthanization fluid out of dogs and cats. They just take the whole thing and just shove it right into big pots and start cooking this stuff down and making protein out of it for our livestock industry. Cows, but mainly chickens, mainly fish. Fish eat chicken, yes, fish eat all this rendered crap from animal proteins, including feathers and stuff, just gets rendered down and put into pellets. You wouldn't know the difference. Chickens, pigs, fish, it goes into all this food. I mean, there's a little tighter legislation, tighter laws for cattle, because that's how they say mad cow disease happened, but it's still happening out there. It's still stuff is still happening. And the dairy industry, they cattle eat these grains and this byproducts and stuff, and they get PCBs and all these unwanted things into the fat, because that's where it stores up, into the fat of the milk and the cheese. And this is what we're eating. And, you know, I don't give my kids dairy. I've never had dairy. They'll eat very, very, very little raw cheese that they do nowadays. You know, I introduced them to that when they were much older. I said, if you guys want to do some cheese, I know your friends are, here's what you do. And I personally don't eat it myself, but I was a little not quite as strict, but my kids know the difference. They're old enough to know the difference now. So no regular dairy, no milk. I don't vaccinate at all. I don't believe in that. It stunts growth. There's a lot of other things. My kids are very active. For my 40th birthday, we're going to climb Mount Marcy here in New York, 5,300 feet high, 5,400 feet. That's for my 40th birthday. My kids are like, we'll climb this. Let's go climb a mountain, Dad. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. For my 40th birthday, climbing Mount Marcy with my kids. It's going to be awesome when that happens in a couple of months here. So, parents, you are responsible for your kids. They're your responsibility. Wake up, teach them how to cook, watch what they eat, and don't make excuses. There's tons of books out there on educating yourself, educating your kids, and doing the right thing. But go buy them real food, you know. Buy them real food in the grocery store, go home and cook it and show them. Don't be buying corn dogs anymore and pizzas and these pockets of this and Pop-Tarts. I mean, Pop-Tarts, have you seen what's in Pop-Tarts and looked at it? Give your kids fresh fruit in the morning. I mean, my kids, when I say, guys, let's go to the store to get snacks, to them, that means go to the fruit section and stock up on a basket full of fruit. That's snacks to my kids. It's up to you guys to determine what your kids like and what your kids eat. And unfortunately, pregnant mothers, when you eat now, is going to have a big effect on your kids' taste buds and what they're used to. So if you're out there eating Twizzlers and Reese's peanut butter cups and you're just picking out because you're pregnant and this and that, that flora in you and that whole thing gets transposed into your kids, and that's going to help them decide what their flavors are like. So more than genes and more than hereditary is lifestyle. And if you're living that lifestyle, your kids are going to live that lifestyle. And that's where you gain weight from. You gain weight from the foods that go into your mouth. And that's from lifestyle. That's not really from your genes. It's from lifestyle, okay? Wonder why the whole family's fat? Well, because they eat all the same food. What happens when one person in the family, one of the family members decides to change the food they eat and become healthy? They lose weight, okay? That's proof right there that it's not in your genes. It's in your lifestyle, okay? Pass this video on. Support Jamie Oliver. He has a lot of great causes going. Does some events year-round too. I think in May he has an event coming up for his foundation. So support what he does. Other restaurants, just eat real food and teach your kids to cook. It's the most important thing you could possibly ever do. In fact, it could be life-saving. Thanks for watching. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. Stay tuned. If you like this, pass it on, hit like, subscribe, share it. Thanks.